Canals. In 1796, Fulton wrote a paper about canals. Canals are waterways. Fulton thought small boats on canals would be better than carts and horses on roads for transporting goods and people. So he designed new types of canal boats. He also thought of a way to drag boats up hills between canals. Water wheels and pulleys were used to do this. British leaders liked Fulton's ideas. They needed canals to move coal from mines to the city. Fulton was hired to make the canals in England better. This image shows a modern lock system at work. Construction of the Panama Canal. Panama Canal locks in 1913 before it opened to ship traffic in 1914. Canal to the world. Canals help move heavy loads over water. The Panama Canal allows ships to move between two oceans. A French engineer started to build it in 1878. The United States finished it in 1914. In 1999, the United States gave Panama control of the canal. Today, the Panama Canal is used to shorten the routes of commercial ships. Also, cruise ships use it to move between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Robert Fulton continued his canal work for many years. One important invention that improved the use of canals was the double inclined plane. This could be used to raise and lower boats in and out of canals. An inclined plane is shaped like a wedge. It allows heavy loads to be raised with less energy. A load would be much harder to lift without it. Fulton showed how one plane could be used to raise a boat. The other plane was used to lower a boat at the same time. Fulton's design used water as the energy source. It also used pulleys with chains to connect the two boats. This was a very useful invention. Fulton's double inclined plane made it much easier to lower and lift boats into and out of the water. Canal cleanup. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina struck. It caused a lot of damage. Much of the damage was caused because the levee systems failed. Whole neighborhoods were flooded. That's when engineers like Karen Lahari stepped in. She managed a huge canal clearing project in the state of Louisiana. She and her team cleared more than 112 kilometers, or 70 miles, of canals. Pyramid planes. Inclined planes were used to build the pyramids in Egypt. Egyptians used inclined planes that were over a mile long. Diving boats. Fulton wondered about underwater travel. How could it be possible? He wanted to find a way. In 1800, he made a diving boat. It was made of wood and metal. Water put into tanks would add weight to it. This weight would push the boat down. When water was pushed out of the tanks, the boat floated up. Fulton built a dome on top of the boat. The dome had thick windows to see through. The crew would get in the boat through the dome. A hand crank turned a propeller. This powered the diving boat underwater. Does this kind of vehicle sound familiar? Fulton's diving boat is what we now call a submarine. Fulton's diving boat. Modern submarines. Submarines. Submarines have changed a lot over time. In 1954, the first nuclear-powered submarine was made. It can stay under the water for a long time. Sailors can live for months below the sea in such a submarine. Modern submarines have changed warfare too. Early submarines had to come to the surface to fire missiles. Submarines today can fire missiles under the water. Submarine missiles can travel long distances to their targets. It was Napoleon, the great leader of France, who asked Fulton to design the first practical submarine. The model he built was called the Nautilus. Fulton gave his diving boat design to French leaders in 1801. He planned the hull to be armored. That would protect it from cannonballs. The boat was designed to have a small crew of sailors. They would turn a crank to move the boat. The crew had to raise a mast and sail one above water. Fulton used a compass to direct the boat under the water. Fulton led tests with a group of 3 men from the government to review his plans. Fulton and the others remained underwater for 3 hours. They were able to rise and lower the boat by filling and emptying water from tanks. The boat could go to depths of nearly 8 meters or 25 feet. The pressure of the water any deeper would have crushed the hull. Naomi Leonard. Dr. Naomi Leonard is a modern engineer. She recently received a big award to continue her work, $500,000. The money is known as a Genius Grant. It was given to her because she shows so much creative and original thinking in her work. She designs ways to control robot vehicles under the water. These vehicles are sent to patrol the seas. They can stay for long periods of time, much longer than a human can. While there, they gather data about sea life. The data they get can help to reveal what happens deep beneath the surface. Maritime warfare. Robert Fulton lived during a time of many wars. At that time, the British Navy ruled the seas. Fulton wished for world peace, yet he combined many of his inventions to make weapons. Fulton hoped his weapons would end wars. He tried to sell his weapons to both the United States and countries in Europe. He thought in this way he could help to bring peace. Fulton put underwater cannons onto boats. Before that time, cannonballs were shot onto decks of other ships. They put holes in the ships or damaged the sails. The ship would sink or slow down. Fulton's new cannons could shoot into the sides of ships. This would put holes in the ships under the water level. Water would then rush into the ship's hulls. This made the ships sink faster. Fulton also made torpedoes with gunpowder that could explode underwater. He designed his diving boat to tow the torpedoes. His boat could tow a torpedo under a ship and then set the fuse. This would blow up the ship's hull and sink the ship. The sketch done by Fulton in 1806 shows a cross-section through a plunging boat. Engineering the Brooklyn Bridge. John Roebling was hired in 1867 as the chief engineer of the new Brooklyn Bridge project. An accident at the site led to his death in 1868. His son Washington took over. When he became ill in 1872, his wife Emily took on the job. She supervised the day-to-day construction. Many of the workers thought of her as the chief engineer. She had already studied some of what she needed to know before the project. She also learned much on the job. She became such an expert that many bridge workers sought her advice. She worked on the bridge until it opened in 1883. Later life. Little is known about the personal life of Robert Fulton. Many books have been written about him. Each of these mainly gives a long history of his inventions. A few things are known. In the later years of his life, Fulton was put in charge of all steamboat traffic in New York. Steamboats were commonly used to transport people. He charged high fees because he had all the steamboats. In 1818, other people began to run steamboat businesses. Now there was competition. This dropped the price of fares. Fulton's company could not stay in business. At one time, steamboats did the work that modern ferries do today. Some of New York's waterways today. Fulton did not live a long life. He developed lung problems that started with a bad cold. He became very sick. In 1815, at the age of 49, he died in New York. It is said that his death deprived the United States of one of her most useful citizens. Robert Fulton spent his life as an inventor, mechanic, and engineer. His work lives on in his inventions. It also lives in the work of engineers that came after him. Even today, engineers use his work to develop ideas and inventions of their own. Roboticist Cynthia Breazeal, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Bot Buddies. Meet the woman who could make Star Wars real. I saw Star Wars when I was really young, Cynthia Breazeal says. I really adored R2-D2 and C-3PO. Having robots like that someday captivated my imagination. Becoming an astronaut and going to Mars also captured her imagination. Breazeal started designing robots that might one day explore Mars. Now she designs robots like the furry guy below named Leonardo. He's programmed to behave like a friend. When Breazeal is not in the lab, you can find her surfing or snowboarding. When I was growing up, I was probably known much more as an athlete than as a scholar. Maybe someday she'll design a bot to join her on the slopes. Robots like Breazeal designs can be used for both work and play. Is it for you? If you were a roboticist, you might design machines that build cars, build high-tech toys, program robots to explore Mars. For you to do. Do you think you'll ever play sports against a robot? Draw a picture of what a robotic athlete might look like.